6:30 in the morning. 16th of August 2019. This is the beginning of another campervan day, as I would put it. And so you see my motorhomes there. I've got some guests, neighbours. Well, I shouldn't say guests because this isn't my parking spot. It's just where I'm spending my time at the moment. There, I've got it up there. Ergo Arena. This is Gdańsk, between Gdańsk and Sopot, in fact, because Sopot is the over just what 100 meters or so over there. And I've got the beach down there, 700 meters away, which is great. I'm going to walk down there right now, and I'll show you around what else we've got. Now, I'll tell you what happened to me, because people sometimes ask me about life in the van, and which this is a bit unfortunate. It's not really a typical sort of a day because of the it's more like being on holiday at the moment, and I can't say that you live in a van, you're not on holiday all the time. Yeah, I'll film and walk. In fact, I'm filming now with my Samsung S7 camera without a gimbal. A bit daft really. I could have gone and got my normal camera to do this, but never mind. I hope it looks all right. And so we can use this as a test actually. How does it look without a gimbal? So right, 2 days ago, I got up about this time. I went out, well, a bit early in fact. It was just before 6 I left. I went out on my bicycle. I went to the coast, followed the sea line. There's this wonderful cycle path along the seafront. Then I even saw a fox run across, which you don't really expect in such urban areas. And then I was heading towards a place called Westerplatte, which is a place which is usually quoted as being where the first shots of World War II were fired. Actually, it isn't that as a historian, I don't think that's true. Anyway, I was it's a place I had to come off the bicycle track and went onto the road. Came onto the road, and behind me I noticed there was a bus. So I put my foot down a bit, so to speak, and went a bit faster. Anyway, a car coming onto the main road from a side from T-junction, so I had right of way, hit me. And anyway, so I was sort of sprawled out on the zebra crossing. The bus behind me just sort of went past. Fortunately, the driver, he did stop, and he was extremely apologetic. There was initially a language problem until I realised that he couldn't speak Polish. And anyway, I managed to pull myself off the zebra crossing and onto the pavement. Thing is, he really did try to help me, the person, and the ambulance came, the police came as well. You got to get the police. And anyway, but I didn't want him to get a fine, so I argued very much in his defence. I thought, something like this can happen, because he came out. He wasn't going that fast, but I mean, it was enough to, with my speed, which must have been I don't know, about 25 kilometers an hour. So he probably hit me. Asmus was hit me much more, about 10 to 15 kilometers. Anyway. They brought me home, back to my van, and sort of spent about 2 or 3 hours in bed, and then I thought, I can't just sit in bed. And I was fit enough to go out in the evening, so that was okay. Now, yesterday, I went out on a very long bicycle ride, and I fasted. I didn't intend on fasting all day, but I did, and then I also I didn't take water with me, which then it got quite hot, and as it was a national holiday here, all the shops were closed, and fortunately I met somebody. We went out on a bike ride together, and that person had water, a bit. Anyway, I got back at about 6:30 maybe, absolutely exhausted, into the shower, and then I was so tired I sort of crashed on the bed, which isn't sort of really a good idea when you're sort of in a van, sort of crashing on the bed, not drying yourself, and so I always keep a towel on top of the bed, which is fortunate, and then managed to pull myself off, dry myself off, put some my pajamas, which are what do you call it in English? Training, these things people run in, I've forgotten the word now, training suits, and a shirt, training suit, trousers, whatever. And then I slept until midnight. Thought, oh, I'll get up, then realised it's 12:05, went back to sleep again. And then I was woken up by what I thought was birds on the roof, and it turned out, I just realised now that somebody's sleeping in the car next to my van. But anyway, I banged the skylight a couple of times, thinking that was going to frighten the birds off, and the noise continued, and I realised what was happening. It was somebody else beside me. Went back to sleep again and got up at 4, which is only slightly earlier than when I normally get up anyway. And anyway, so having not eaten for such a long time, I thought, oh, I'd better eat something. I had 2 spoonfuls of butter. It might seem an odd thing when you sort of go into this diet type, you start eating butter. 2 spoonfuls of butter with a little bit of salt on my hand, and now I just don't want to eat at all. I feel full. So I'm now going down to the beach on foot. And it's down here. So there you have it, a campervan day. I went to Westerplatte twice yesterday, as it turned out. Now, I don't know why I was so exhausted, because according to my step counter, I did 27 kilometers, if that were on foot. Of course, it was partially also by bicycle, mainly by bicycle. So I believe a fair translation into kilometres is times 3.5. So allowing the fact I must have walked a bit, I did walk a bit as well. So it was only about 60 kilometres. Not a lot really. But there was a slight problem with the wind as well. That might have had its effect of making me more tired. Anyway, it says the beach, it's 10 minutes. And that's roughly the speed it would take me walking as I am now. So I would say it's considerably less than on the bike. What, maybe even 3.5, 4 minutes, something like that. And the pier at Sopot, 36 minutes. And the pier at Brzezno is 45 minutes from here. So, that, I mean, the Sopot on my bicycle, that's what, less than 10 minutes to the pier. And that's not going particularly fast, because it's a bike trail, and I really feel that when you've got lots of other people hanging around on their bicycles, going various speeds, you've got people walking. I don't think you should go fast at all. But there's one annoying thing it's now started. These electric scooters, and people seem to go very fast on them, and there seems to be no speed limits about them. I talked to the police a couple of days ago about these electric scooters, and they said, well, there's no clear law. But to me, I was on my bicycle and doing, I presume, in excess of 20 kilometers an hour, and somebody overtook me on an electric scooter, some, I don't know, 14 or 15-year-old, and I would estimate that they must have been doing around 35 kilometers an hour. And I thought the law was such that you could only do speed was limited to 24 for assisted vehicles, but clearly I'm wrong on that one. Or the vehicle could do actually more, the scooter. Right, so this is the way at the beach. see there's somebody else coming my way, so I'll stop filming. And so that's what I did. So that's a day in the life of a person who lives in a van.